Good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing well. So, tonight I thought I would do a live just to talk about some of the basics. I've not done a live in a little while, unstructured like this, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the key things that's going to help you get clients more efficiently on LinkedIn. Because a lot of people spending time on there are not getting the bang for the effort put in. So I'm just going to share what is really important because I scroll LinkedIn a lot. It's my day job helping people get clients. So I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time talking with people LinkedIn. I've mentored people one on one to help them get to positive revenue from LinkedIn, 500 of them. And I can tell you now that when I look at people's activity on LinkedIn and I'm trying to judge if they're successful, I always look at their profile because it tells me whether they're deploying their efforts in the right place. And so I can quickly get up to speed with where somebody's head's at, their thinking at, their plan is, their strategy is for LinkedIn just by looking at their profile. Now, of course, it's all about what you do with your effort on LinkedIn, but actually you can tell there's a lot of tells about somebody's profile about how effective their strategy is. So that's what I'm going to share tonight. I'm going to walk through my profile. By no means is my profile perfect because I'm in a little bit of a journey on my changing the focus on my profile, but I'll talk about the logic behind doing it the way I recommend my clients to do it. So hopefully you can see my profile here. I want to just talk about LinkedIn behavior for a minute, what I call the profile loop. So every action you do on LinkedIn, everything you do basically stirs up curiosity. And so you're posting, you're connecting, you're messaging, whatever you're doing, commenting, joining groups, even if you're cold emailing people, which is a little bit icky, but if you're doing it, you know, some of those people are going to go, who is this person? And they're going to come back to your profile. And so your profile is actually central to your success on LinkedIn because you're going to make all of this generate all this interest and it's going to come back to your profile. So we need to set up that profile to do the heavy lifting for us, what I call pre-selling. So pre-selling is real simple. It's the more people understand what you do, why it matters for them, how it works, your approach to it, the success you've had with it, the more they see that up front, the less salesy you have to be. So, in other words, if you put it out there and get it out there, especially if you're a little bit squeamish about talking about pricing, and I was that way. So, I put all my pricing out up front. So, out there. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but trust me, if you hate the thought of selling, it is easier to do it this way than the other way, where you're on a call with somebody and they go, so well, what exactly do you do? How could you help me? And how much is that? And then you have that awkward moment where you're saying it's £5,000 and they go, oh, I thought it'd only be about 200 quid. And it's like, what a flipping waste of time. That's how important it is. So all of this traffic, all this activity, and I'm going to do more lives to talk you through this, is bringing people to your profile to have a look. Every post, every message, every connection, everything you're doing. So this is where I talk about something called the 4-second value prop. Now, as you know, LinkedIn is like an ecosystem. It's a big little, well, it's a world. It's got a billion people on it. It's like its own little world. And so we have to work inside the world. LinkedIn wants people to stay in the world. It does not want people to leave and look at your website. A lot of people say to me, oh, Dean, before I take LinkedIn seriously, I need to update my website. No, you don't. Nobody's going there. It doesn't even play a part. It doesn't have to play a part. So uh, it's more about what you do inside the platform. So the 4-second value prop is very simple. In 4 seconds from anything you're doing on the platform, can somebody figure out why it's beneficial for them? Not because that's going to flip them over and they're going to go take my money, but because it's going to convince them to look a little deeper. And so when people land on your profile, this first section here, this little white box with your head in that goes down to here, is actually pretty important. It's really important because this is the first thing they see. And as much as I think I'm a beautiful person, they're actually going to spend most of their time, most of that 4 seconds, staring at this banner. Now, if you're a free user, you've got a static banner. But if you're Premium or Sales Navigator, you've got a rotating banner. And that just adds a bit more interest and gets people paying more attention. Instead of grabbing them and losing them in a couple of seconds, you've got them a bit longer because they're looking and going, what's all this about? So what should you put here? So it's really simple. In this banner, you've got the opportunity to put what I call your promise. If somebody works with you, what are they going to get? How will their world change? Speak to the problem they've got. Speak to them as a person. Show them your process and give them proof. So with 5 banners, that's really easy to do. If you've got the static banner, that's a lot of information to cram in. So you need to be very strategic about what you put in here. I see a lot of people, they slam their logo as big as possible. Don't do that. Right? Your logo is not important. It's more important that the message it lands, not your logo. So you can see mine here. I've got my 3P framework, which is how I help people get clients. I've got a screenshot of a load of testimonials from Trustpilot. I've got over 500 of them. My big promise and who it's for, and then a quote from a customer who's actually been successful working with me. Now, I could ram it through more stuff and more stuff, but these are the essentials. Yeah, remember the promise, the problem, the person, the process, the proof. You want those things present. And actually, if you take a mental note for landing pages, for anything like that, they need to be there. Now, we also can't assume that people will join the dots. And by that, I mean that if they look here, yeah, and they look here and they look here, they can figure it out. You're putting too much cognitive load, you're putting too much work on the person. And also, remember that this bit here will actually get seen on comments, posts, connection requests separate from the header. So often what people do is put information in here and then put different information in here. No, no, no. Yes, you're limited on what you can put here, but it should almost be almost the same stuff. You're trying to repeat the same messages, which will help you get that message to stick and be remembered. And that's how you build a brand or build your brand around an outcome you deliver. So you become known for a specific outcome. That's where the money is in 2026. Being a generalist, AI is coming for you. Being a specialist, better pricing, better money, easier to grow, easier to cut through. So don't assume that these have to join up. They have to be standalone. You have to assume somebody does not know you, they don't know anything about what you do, and they are not going to put any effort into finding out. That's your responsibility. Now, when it comes to the profile picture, there's 2 basic ways you can run the profile picture. Number 1 is the authority pose. So the authority one is you with a microphone, you looking animated, doing something, but it's important they can see your face. So this one here is me speaking at an event. This is a photo. It's one of the photos I like. And the only thing I wish I was at more of an angle towards the camera, but I really like the picture. I'm speaking at a conference in Arizona. I really enjoyed my time there, and so the photo's wrapped up with the good memories. So that's what I've done there. So you can see how that all works together. So if somebody's paying attention in this bit, they say win clients consistently without relying on referrals, social selling for expert-led businesses. So I'm making it clear I'm talking to people who get a lot of their businesses from referrals, and I'm talking to people people who sell expertise as a service. So your lawyers, your accountants, professional services, financial advisors, all those kind of people. So that's the first slide. Then the second one is a case study or testimonial from a client. Yeah. Then I reiterate social selling, but I also put the qualifiers in there. Just flick back to that. I put the qualifiers in there of no ads, no pushy pitches, no chasing the algorithm. Because a lot of the people I work with, they don't want to spend their time on LinkedIn. It's a means to an end. They want something sustainable and not overwhelming, something they can do and stick to, fits in their routine. They're not going to become a full-time content creator. So that's in there as well. And then this last one, sorry, that's my 3P framework, my methodology of how I get people a result. And then I've got the 5-star reviews, and it just adds a little bit more credibility. Now, that's not going to flip people over just off that. But what it will do, that little window there, will encourage people to move down. Now, I'm not going to talk about the services section today because one, mine needs major work because I'm not sure what I want to put there at the moment. So it's got filler stuff there at the moment. But I do want to talk about this about section. So you'll see a lot of people are talking about the algorithm changing. And in some senses, makes LinkedIn more difficult, but it actually makes LinkedIn easier at the same time. The old days of you getting easy reach are over. Every social platform always goes through this cycle where they make it easy for people to get high visibility. And as the platform matures, they make it harder and harder and harder because they got to, appeal and appease more people on the platform. So the way LinkedIn works, keep it real simple, is the platform, the algorithms are actually reading your profile and trying to work out who you're for and what you're about. And so this is where the generalists get kind of swallowed up because your profile has to tell the algorithm who your content's for. And the algorithm's looking at your content, looking at your profile and going, is it consistent? And if it's not consistent, guess what? You won't get shown. And so the about section, I've always said for years, most people don't read it, but the algorithms do. LLMs do. AI does. And so in this section here, you want to explain, again, all of those P's: the promise, the problem, the person, the process, the proof, and then I'll add 2 more, the services you offer specifically, and the any keywords or topics you talk about. So in other words, there's enough information there for an algorithm to understand who you're about, who your content's for, who you're about, what you talk about, all that kind of stuff. But also, if somebody does read the whole thing, there's enough information in there. And you can see I broke it up with some little things there just to make it easier for people to read. So it's not big blocky chunks of text. But you can see I've written that out and put it there. And yes, I did get a bit of help from AI, but I rewrote it in my own words so it didn't sound too cheesy American AI stuff. So that's really important for if you've got really curious buyers, they'll look here. You could add more proof. You could add a load of testimonials at the bottom as well, quotes from customers if you've got the space. But it's really just reinforcing the message. And the picture you'll get from tonight is actually everything is reinforcing the same consistent message, those P's. Yeah. So that's the about section. And also I've added the skills in here. Skills, again, adding more relevance, which is important. But also, if somebody's looking at your profile and they don't quite get it, just saying, oh, LinkedIn Sales Navigator sales, LinkedIn social selling marketing, they get it. They kind of get it. So that's what we do. Now, services section, if you're a free user, this doesn't look very good because it doesn't show you these little panels. I need to change my panels. They've not come out the way I wanted. So I'm going to change these in the next couple of weeks. But the idea here is you can spell out the specific services you offer. You can upload images, videos. I've actually got a video in here my why, and you can watch my backstory and stuff like that so people get a flavor of who I am. This is stuff that people look at who are really digging into you. They're not the average user isn't looking in this place. Now, you can do all sorts of stuff with this and use it like a proper services page. I don't. I just use it as a billboard to really spell out what I do. But I'm going to give it an overhaul in the next few weeks and basically go, here's the 1 day intensive, here's the company strategy day, here's the elite one-to-one coaching. And then people can see, oh, let's have a look at those. So in more detail. So that's really useful, but it's like for the people who are super, super interested. So it's not for not everybody. This bit here, the featured section, oh my God, so many people get this wrong. So many people get this wrong. So what they do here is they pin popular posts and they look horrific. They don't look good. They don't draw people in. Mine are a bit plain, but the text hits you and you go, oh, want more clients? Oh, what's he talking about? I'll go and have a look. That's the purpose of this section. It's one of the only sections on your profile where you can drive people to particular places. Use it. So again, we're reinforcing those same messages, right? One trick pony here, and that's the objective. It's not really to do lots of different stuff. It's to go bang a drum and get a consistent message out there. And I said to my accelerator members today, I said to them, you're going to have to repeat a message over and over and over again. You'll get sick of saying the same things over and over and over again. But that's because you're saying it over and over again. And you cannot not do that. You cannot not do that because about the time you've said this for the 10th time, somebody's going, do you know what? I think that Dean does something with social selling. And so you cannot assume, and this is just a general rule of social media, full stop, you cannot assume that people know you. You have to assume that the majority of people checking you out today have never seen you before. Anybody who's seen you multiple times, that message is being reinforced. But you cannot have this disparate thing where people just don't get it. I was talking to somebody the other day, and in their one of their links on their top of their profile, you've got the premium custom button. I'll show you in a second. In that premium custom button, it was the custom link, which I don't have for some reason. The custom link, and you can customize the text. I'll show you where it goes. It's right up at the top here. I don't have it, but it appears around here. God knows why it's disappeared on me. Some people have still got it. But when you go here, in fact, let me just see if Dave's got it. I think he has, but for whatever reason, I don't have it. Yeah, so you can see here, Dave's got it. Yeah, I don't have it. They put join the November intake. For what? Profile banner was just a big logo. Header was like vague as anything. And it's like join the November intake for what? That nowhere is there anything about what this November thing is. And this is a classic thing, and we all fall into it. I've probably done it, and probably still do it, and it's not something to be embarrassed about. We all flipping do it. Is because we're so in the middle of what we do, we lose sight of people are not in the middle of what we do. They don't get it. They're glancing in seconds, and so we make huge leaps, assuming people know, and they really don't. So I'd encourage you to once over your profile and really look and go, will people get it on face value? Do they have to do any mental work to figure it out? And if they don't, it's good. So this featured section is really, want more clients? Now you could make yours prettier than mine. I might make mine a bit more pretty, but because I've changed the branding a little bit for some of the things I'm doing, I just wanted to get it done. But want more clients, I could put some nice pretty stuff on it if I wanted to. If people want more clients, they can click this. It opens up and they can read a little brochure that explains what I do. I've got prices in there, right? Why do I put prices in there? Because I want people to book calls or schedule time with me, knowing the fullness of what I offer, so I have less heavy lifting to do down the line. I don't want to be going on a call and them saying, "Well, how does it work?" And then them have massive price shock, and I get the wrong people on calls. If somebody sees that my one-to-one coaching is $15,000, yeah, and they go, "Whoa, that's way too much for me." I don't want them coming on a call, and I don't want people coming on a call with me unless they're prepared to invest in themselves, basically. So I would rather them know up front how much it is, and if they book a call, they're they're a bit more informed. So I've got that there. Now I'm breaking a rule of mine. I've got a second thing I'm doing here because I'm running all day workshops in Bristol, London, and Manchester in September. So over the next few weeks, that's going to take a lot of my focus on LinkedIn because I want to fill those rooms. And I'm going to work with people to help them build a reliable lead flow from LinkedIn and make it manageable. And so this is my 1 day intensive. So that's going to take up more of my focus on LinkedIn. So that will come front and center, and I'll probably update my banner with it in as well. So that's there. Then I've got my client wins. So this is a link to some collation of testimonials from customers who've been through my programs, who've got results from my programs, so people can click and watch that and consume that. So I'm building trust. And then I've got another page here, which is basically this is like a calendar booking form for calls. So what I encourage people to do, I don't have these in at the moment, but I encourage people to have their core offer, the thing they want to sell, in the featured section. Mandatory. If you want to make it easy, they need to know what you're offering. Don't get into this double think of going, well, if I put that, I'm going to sell that there. What if they want something else? That is a hiding to nothing when you start counter thinking and second guessing. I can tell you now, you will have way more clarity about what you want to achieve, about your goals, your message, your activity on LinkedIn when you decide what you're selling, why it matters, and who it matters for. If you just decide those three things, you will get way more clarity about everything. Now, I'm not going to go into that too much, but why don't we? Fear of making a mistake, fear of somebody coming to our profile who is ready to buy and they don't see the thing that they're ready to buy, and so you lose the sale. That's the real fear. Or the other one is, yeah, but I'm so much more, and I struggled with this. I'm so much more than just that thing. I can do this and that and the other, but I can't do this, that, and the other all at the same time. That's the problem. So, yes, right, I resented being known as a LinkedIn person. Absolutely resented it because it's like I'm forcing myself into a bucket that I don't want to be in because I've helped people with email and with with all sorts of different activities and websites and videos. I used to run a $2.5 million TV uh, advertising budget. So there's a whole load of things I could help people do, but I can't sell a whole load of things. I can't market well a whole load of things. And so when I'm looking at profiles, the first thing I'm looking at is this person clear? Are they focused? Can I see their audience, their offer? Can I see that in their profile? And if I can't, it tells me they haven't settled on something in their head. Whether that be they're not sure the right thing to go to market with, whether it be that fear of one dimensioning yourself. But I can tell you one of the ways social media works is it's very one dimensional. It's very black and white. Nuance gets lost. Now we can complain about that. We can argue about whether that's right or wrong, but that's the reality. If you go onto LinkedIn and say, "Hey, I make amazing belt buckles, and I make them for, rodeos." I don't know why I came up with that one, right? What do you post about? Rodeos, farmers in the US, horses. I think rodeos are horses. Hopefully, they are. Might be showing my lack of knowledge on on stuff now. But you see what I'm saying? It gives you so much focus. But what happens is we see the platform as an opportunity and then don't decide on what opportunities we want, which means we end up using it in a vague, generic, conceptual way. And often that ends up where we get nothing, or we have to do a very aggressive sales job. So, this is my view on profiles. I'll just add a few more things to think about as well. Well, there's me. Um, in your experience, again, doing write ups in your experience, it might seem a little bit pointless if it's your own business, for an example. But again, it's more content that ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, LinkedIn's algorithms can pick up on and understand who you are and what you're about. So I've put the information in. I've put quite a lot in. I'm not repeating the same copy, but I'm really beefing up what I'm sharing in here. I can't believe I've been doing this for 18 years. Scary, eh? Um, so that's the essentials. Now, just coming back to why is this so important? Because this is your website inside LinkedIn. The difference is you can get traffic to it more easily than you can get to your website, especially now. Like the SEO game was hard before, getting organic traffic to your website. Now it's even harder. But on LinkedIn, if you're really focused on who you're talking to, focused on the right topics, and really zero in, you can get traffic inside the LinkedIn ecosystem. And that's what I talk about a lot. And I shared it in my newsletter. What you're trying to do is build an ecosystem that has three layers. You've got the LinkedIn ecosystem, which is, a billion people or more. Then you've got the people who know you, and that only needs to be sustainable on LinkedIn. You only need 1,000, and that sounds scary, but it's not hard, 1,000 ICPs to know your name and remember you, to be familiar with you. Just 1,000. Now, some of you, that might seem scary. Don't worry. If you have a proper plan, and I can help you with that, a proper plan, 1,000 is about 5 months of work. We're not talking about somebody who just recognizes your face today. We're talking about they are familiar with you. They are aware of who you are. They recognize your name. They recognize your face. Just a level of awareness. Now, 1,000 sounds huge, and you might go, well, Dean, why is it 1,000? It's 1,000 because if you want a sustainable business, that 1,000 will, as long as you keep that populated, because people will drift in and drift out, as long as you keep that populated, that's maintenance work, you will have a steady stream of leads. So we got the billion ecosystem on LinkedIn, and then we've got the 1,000 who are familiar with us, our visibility circle, or inside that. Then we've got our trust circle, circle of trust from Meet the Fockers. And that only needs to be about 200 people. Doesn't need to be huge. 200 people. That means we now have a group of people who know, like, trust us. And then from that, we need, and this all depends on how good you are at the sales end of what you do. When you get a call, how good are you at closing them? But between 20 and 50 people in your pipeline. That means you'll never have feast and famine. Now, I'll just be honest with you. It does take a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of focus. That's why I work with clients over 6 months, 3 months to get this working, and then another 3 months to refine it. Doesn't mean you don't get leads for 3 months, but to get to that sustainability level where LinkedIn's working for you, you need those circles, the 1,000 ICPs who know and are familiar with you, the 200 who trust you. And there's some ways to do that really quickly if you're good at what you do. And then the pipeline process, the 20 to 50 people in that process of conversations with you already. So that if you maintain that system, and it's not a maintenance, building it is a bit of work. That's why I support my clients in doing it. But maintaining it is quite straightforward. It's doing this over and over and over again. It can be done in half an hour a day. It's not a lot of work. If you try to go and make yourself famous, that's a ton of work. But most people say to me, Dean, I only need a handful of clients. I don't need thousands or hundreds of clients or leads. No, you don't. You need enough leads on an ongoing basis to sustain the number of clients coming out. And unless you have 100% conversion, and I don't think you will, that's more than 6 or 7 client leads. You need a flow. That's why we talk about it like that. So this is your profile. One other final thing I think about as well, you got this new thing, but it's very tech orientated. So yes, you can add all your apps in here that you use, but actually I think it's probably a bit more of a cybersecurity risk because hackers could literally see what stuff you use and figure out how to hack you. But we'll leave that alone. The other thing that's really useful is asking clients to put their um, asking clients to put their recommendations on your profile. Is another source of social proof, but also you can grab them and use them as quotes as well in other places. So I like to do this a lot. So you can see here, I've gathered 107. I probably should gather more, but I've been trying to put them on Google and all those other places as well. So um, that's really what you want to do with your profile. It really helps you optimize what you're doing. So it is the hub that makes selling easier. And I know some of you hate the word selling, it feels icky, but we all have to do it. It's how we do it that matters. We can do it icky and we can do it conversationally. And I said to my accelerator members, we're doing a session on it in this coming Tuesday. I said, you can either sell like a salesperson or you can sell like a coach. Good salespeople sell like a coach. They ask questions and they draw the answers out. They don't pitch. If you're pitching, you don't know sales. You don't know sales. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you want to see more of this stuff, subscribe or follow wherever you're watching. I am going to do some more. I'm going to talk about your network and how to maintain a healthy network, how to find the right prospects, really give you some useful stuff to help you think about how do I make this LinkedIn thing work? So I'm not spending hours, I'm not doing icky things, but I'm actually getting results. So if you've enjoyed this, you got some value from it, let me know wherever you're watching, and I'll be back soon.